Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben. I'm here with a mouth movie Aadil.
Yeah, I was trying to match you, but
I know
you said things slightly differently and you tripped me up.
I know, I tried to do it quickly as well, so you wouldn't get me this time.
Yeah.
Always trying. And we got a special guest, Lauren, joining us today. Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. We're all going to drink some beers. We're going to chat about video games. So first, let's crack into our beers. Lauren, I've already seen you swigging. What are you drinking?
I'd have a wee sip. So this is a collaboration beer. Two Finnish craft beers. It was Pyri and Hickey came together to make Sori Brewing, and this is called We'll Always Have Paris, and it's an imperial stout with dates, coconut, and tonka bean.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
It's a cool 9.5% boy, so I'm having a good time on
Nice.
sips already.
Good. Aadil, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Musta Lumi Black Snow Black IPA.
Ooh.
I think I've had that.
It came in a Beer 52, so I suspect you have. And it's Lumi Brewing in Espoo, Finland. And who's the actual main brewer? What is that symbol? Anyone know who that brewery is?
Oh,
It's 71.
yes.
Yeah.
It is 71, yeah.
There we go, 71 in Lumi. Thanks, friends.
Team effort. What have
Crack
you got?
that one
a
open.
Canastella?
Me? Definitely got a can of Stella. No. I'm drinking Lost and Grounded, Sketches of Home, Galaxy and Enigma IPA.
Ooh.
There's no flavour text. All I know is it's got Galaxy and Enigma in it, and it's brewed here in Bristol. It's 6.2%. It's got barley, malt, flaked oats, wheat malt, hops and yeast.
Oh, so a handful of malts.
Some malts, some bits, some stuff going on. Lost and Grounded, kind of known for making lagers, Keller Pills being the sort of big hit and thing. So we'll see how this is. I don't think I've had an IPA from them before, so probably have. I've probably just forgotten.
In a drunken stupor.
That's what happens with beers. Obviously, Lauren, we'll come back to you as you just had a taste. How is your beer? What's it
It's
like?
delicious. It's
Good.
like drinking do you know the caramel sauce you get with sticky toffee pudding?
Yeah.
That's what it
Oh, yeah.
tastes like.
Nice.
Glad it's
Super
fucked up.
sweet.
It's delicious. It's really smooth. It's not got that kind of, a lot of stouts of that kind of like back of the throat taste. It's not got that. That's the best way I can put that into words. It's not got that horrible bitterness. It's really smooth. I think the coconut really offsets how rich the dates are. So yeah, get it. I think, where did I get this? I got it in a Glasgow shop, but I mean, if I can get it in Glasgow, you can get it. I know Bristol's got a really good beer hub. A lot of our friends will travel specifically to Bristol to go and get beer.
Yeah.
So go and find it.
Nice. That was it was a collaboration. Sori Brewing.
Sori Brewing from Tallinn in Estonia.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Had a couple of beers from them as well, but I don't think I've ever had anything from them quite up in the almost double digits. I think everything I've had from them has been
double-digit boy. We had
been
a
lower.
plum porter at Christmas, and it was 11.5%, and it was
Nice.
a 600 ml bottle.
Oh, nice.
It was a good time, but it was a rough time.
Did you share it?
I did, begrudgingly. I did have most of it.
It's like, you have just this little bit. You taste it, and I'll
Have a
the
sip.
rest of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Take less than 5 milliliters. So I want 595 plus.
Adil, how's yours?
So it's a 5.2%. I forgot to say it's a black IPA. Nose
Oh,
is
wow.
yeah,
I
it's
think.
it's a proper black IPA. It could easily be a little. I mean, you can tell it's an IPA because it's got an actual head versus usually you see stouts this color. It's actually quite soft on the nose, a little sweet, but almost nothing else going on. Like no fruits, nothing else. Yeah,
Tasty.
so this is what I want from a black IPA, which is like those malty tastes from a stout or a porter forward, but then they leave really quickly. So it's got some a bit of biscuit, a slight bit of toffee, but not very sweet, and then it fades into almost no bitterness. Actually, it's got a bit of a drying aftertaste. It's got a bit of hoppy, a bit of hops in the aftertaste, but again, really smooth. This won't last long, is my prediction, because it leaves me a little dry. It's really easy to drink. I like the foretaste of that, like malt forward, but not super, like not stouty portery, like you're being hit in the face with malts. Just like, oh, these malts are happening, and then it fades really quickly, and you get again a slightly dried mouthfeel afterwards. So it's like, well, what should I do? I should chase that taste. In other words, I will be swigging the fuck out of this. How about you, Ben?
Not quite what I expected. It's it's very very thin for an IPA. You know, we're getting tons and tons and tons of hazy boys, and this is I mean, it's not completely clear. It's got a little haze to it, but it's really, I don't know.
I mean, I guess see your fingers through it.
Yeah, you can sort of just see see it moving back and forth. But hasn't got a huge nose to it. The flavour I'm getting, it's an odd combination of things going on, and I don't know whether it's just the malts, because I'm getting a little bit of citrus and getting a little bit of pininess from the hops, but they're kind of just brought down a little bit. They're sort of pulled back slightly. I feel that this could be a little bit bigger, and along with it, there's this very slight sweet metallic kind of tinniness to it.
That sounds not great.
Yeah, it's just not. It's kind of almost like an acidity to it, almost like this acrid kind of element in there, a little bit sort of metally, and like you occasionally do
enough,
get,
but not yeasty enough, if you know what I mean. But it doesn't know what it wants to be.
You do get it with a few beers where you get that slight kind of metal tinge to it, you know, where something's trying to happen within it, whether it's trying to be a little bit sweet and that's just being pulled back by maybe a little bit of bitterness or a piney sort of resinous kind of thing. And I think this sort of sits almost somewhere in the middle of that and doesn't really do either of those things. But we'll see. I'll keep drinking it.
It's like someone on their gap year. They've got ideas, but they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Exactly. Just float around, not really sure what's happening.
Yeah.
You can see your fingers through them, that kind of thing.
Got them.
Oh, those crazy students. Anyway, let's start talking about video games. Well, actually, we're not going to talk about video games. Lauren, as our guest, as our new, because this is the first time you've been on Tacked Up.
Yes.
We've threatened to have you on, I think, since we started.
Yep.
Almost, yeah. Definitely since we joined Out of Lives, I think.
Yep.
Donkey years ago.
So, who are you? What do you do? What are you doing here?
Exactly. So, some people might recognise me as the kind of resident guide goblin at BG247. I do a lot of big guides for like Destiny, Fortnite, Borderlands, all the major kind of franchises, but they've now started sending me further afield to do previews and go and play games and interview people, which is always fun. I was in South Korea at the end of last year with Pearl Abyss, and that was balling. South Korea was cool, Pearl Abyss was cool, planes were actually quite cool as well. So yeah, I kind of just shout a lot about The Witcher 3, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I've got my main man's here. No worries. But,
I didn't bring any coins.
Sorry, I keep throwing coins at him and sending videos to my boss, and he's just like, could you not? But yeah, no, just I write about games. I don't know why I get paid to do it. It's a real job, and
it's good.
I started on OutofLiveser like what 4 years ago. Wrote my wee,
it must be.
my wee cool articles, and now I actually get to do it full time. So have a dream, kids. One day you could be me.
Because you kind of, you know, you were doing quite a lot of your own sort of stuff. You know, a lot of your own articles and sort of trying to break into it for a little while, and then I guess suddenly it just happened for you? Did you apply to loads of different stuff?
Do you know, I didn't. I did a couple of freelance things, did a couple of free things, a couple of freelance things, did my own blog, wrote you guys, all that kind of thing. And then I'd went for what was essentially a community manager job, didn't get it, but I'm now, kind of put my name in the scene, and I'm now friends with the people who were doing the thing, and that's all fine. And at the same time, BG put up for a guide writer, and I thought, fuck it. I did a couple of guides on one of my friends ran a kind of hobby website, and I thought I'd do a couple of guides like Gwen or something on that, and I applied, and I shit you not, coming from nursing, all of my applications, all of my CVs were really professional and well written, and this one was basically like, look, I've done a couple of guides, I really want to get in, come and check me out on Twitter kind of thing. And then my boss phoned me, did a Skype call, ran through what I'd be doing, and was like, does that sound cool? And I was like, yeah, and that was me. And then they just couldn't fucking get rid of me. I came in just when Destiny 2 was into to year 2 with Forsaken, and it was just right to the picking, and the traffic did really well, and they were like, do you want to stay? And I was like, yeah, and that's it. It snowballed from, I wish I had some pure heroic story, but it was basically shit posted on Twitter, shit posted my boss, and got and I was just like, there you go.
I think that's actually sort of the way things seem to go, is like you just do your thing and you don't get discouraged and you interact, and then it might work and it might not for a while, but like do your thing well and someone will notice eventually.
They haven't sacked me yet, so it's fine.
and they've let you talk about The Witcher 3 as well.
Yes.
A couple of times.
What? How old is that game now? 4 years?
Excuse me, it came out in 2019 for the Switch.
So it's relevant?
It's game of the year, 2019.
That's true, yes. Okay, fair enough. That's
a
fair
current
point.
players than it's ever had because of the Witcher
that's
TV
true.
show. So game of the year every year. I've been saying this for 5 years to answer your original question.
It's absolutely insane that the Netflix show kind of pushed it back into the zeitgeist so much that it's done absolutely amazingly.
Well, the cover strategy as well as Xbox Game Pass took it, and just as it was coming out for Netflix was like, let's pop it on the Game Pass, which Game Pass. We're talking about the Game Pass later, but I think it's one of the best inventions of the 2010s. Like the Game Pass has been flawless in its execution. When it really came out properly, the Game Pass Ultimate, it was brilliant. And then adding The Witcher in right at the end of the year, when people are off, they've watched the show, they go, I can't be arsed reading a book, but I'll play a game. Genius. Yeah. Whoever came up with that absolutely deserve it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Curation's really big. I think that,
absolutely.
Not to derail, but like all of the other services that sort of do this type of thing, I think the big thing is you don't just dump 100 games randomly. No. You have to make, and like you said, timing is everything. Like this is coming out, it's a big deal, and it's coming out because you care that it's coming out now versus like, I don't know, Stadia, where it's like a bunch of old shitty games old games that weren't super well reviewed, that by the time they came out,
these 2 months out of date already. How can a game that's new be out of date on a concurrent system that's meant to be, you don't have any download time, it's all in the digital and right there, and it's like, but you're still out of date, but you fucked it from the off mark. Oh dear, poor Google.
Yeah, possibly going down as the worst release in or console service release in history.
At launch, they pre-ordered it, and it's if they went through a list of number 1 ordered, and they can have it. And number 2, and they can have it. But if you're number 400 on the list, you're waiting months, weeks after. And you're like, some people never got them to the last week of December, and you're like, this literally came out 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on here?
And I think it's
you're a founder. By that we mean we fleeced you for some cash.
Exactly.
Because Google needs more cash.
Coupled with all the issues it had of only working on the Chromecast stick that shipped with it and not being able to use it in other places, all of these sorts of things. Why have we moved on to Stadia? How are we shitting on this again? How does it happen every single week?
Game Pass Pass, and you're like,
Yeah, because we're talking about Game Pass, and I couldn't resist the comparison because it's so stark.
That's fair.
Like,
That's
you might
fair.
as well just call it Tony. That's how stark that comparison is.
Oh, wow. God damn.
Oh dear. So, Lauren,
Yeah.
we'll come back to you for a moment. The last episodes that we did with Aadil, Lucy and I, we did our Games of the Year for 2019 and then an episode about our Games of the Decade. So, just very briefly, what was your Game of the Year
I think I've answered.
last year? It wasn't The Witcher 3, and we won't bother with Game of the Decade.
What's your number 2?
What was my game of the year last year? I'm still stuck on the loop that Anthem came out last year. Like, that was 2019, Anthem came out. God, my game of the year last year. What did I play last year? Honestly, the game that gave me the most excitement last year was when Apex Legends came out. Apex Legends is the best multiplayer on the market just now. It blows everything else that's been on the last couple of years out of the water. I can't really remember anything else I played last year. That's how shit it was. Disco Elysium was really good. Disco Elysium was bad.
It's on my list. Yeah, I haven't picked it up.
It's everything you hate and love, kind of rolled into a big heap of shite and coated in more what you hate and love. And it's just so brutal and so unforgiving, but it's sometimes so stupidly funny. Like, there was one, I don't know if you saw it, it was one of the viral videos. One of our colleagues tried it and it did work. They spray painted "fuck the police," and obviously the guy came up and went, "But we're the police," and you have the choice to say, "You're right, we'll scrub this off," or you go, "Nah, fuck us," and you're just, it's that kind of nihilism.
Nice.
Give me more of that, please. Apart from that, I have no idea. I can't. So we did a game of the year list. I can't even remember what I've chosen. I genuinely can't remember what I picked last year.
That's fine.
I think it was The Witcher 3, and then Game of the Decade, obviously, Witcher 3.
Yeah.
After that, I was really thinking about it, and probably Crusader Kings 2 is really high on the list, and Skyrim, because I can't think Oblivion, because it was last decade. Fallout 4's got to be there. I don't
Did you
know.
play Outer Worlds?
I did play Outer Worlds, fucking that was it. God, I knew there was a game I was missing. I was thinking, Fallout 4 didn't come out last year, what am I thinking of? And, yeah, no, Outer Worlds. No, I played Outer Worlds and I played some of Outer Wild, both, as I mentioned. But yeah, it was just...
It was a weird year.
2019, I've got like Apex and Anthem all up on the left, and like, and then the latter half you've got Outer Worlds, and you're just kind of like, that was a long fucking year between those two games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It did seem like an odd year, and I remember when we were talking about it, I think my game of the year, which was A Plague Tale Innocence, again was like right at the start of the year. Lucy's
that was April, because I went to the preview event for that. I got to play that in Paris and interviewed the guy, and they were cracking, and then we get the game out and it was brilliant. But again, I do remember when I got that the day before I went on holiday in May, so there you go. That's how long that was. But no, wow, God.
I know,
I'm having a bit of an existential crisis here.
But this is Lucy picked Resi 2 as well. Again, like January release last year. Just kind of, it's a fucking weird year. It's a very weird transitional kind of year, and it's odd. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Upcoming games, like how we seem to be having some absolutely massive games coming out, like right at the tail end of these consoles. How they might then transition things into the next generation and all of that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a minute, I suppose.
So what would you say your top 3 games of the decades are each? Really just 3, just to be fucking awkward. 3 games.
The 3 games, I can remember my top 2. What was the third one? I think by that point we'd recorded for almost 4 hours and I was absolutely fucked.
And I was trying to keep control of the day, and I ended up kind of cutting you guys off too many times. Editing the podcast, I was like, "Oh, Dill, you're being a cunt." Like, it just was no good. Super Hot VR was top of mine because of just the innovation there, like just really simple mechanic, and then they iterated when VR became more available, and it was brilliant. So not necessarily because it was this amazing, massive thing, but it just like I had to acknowledge that. I don't remember all the other ones, and I literally earlier today deleted the text file based on that.
That's how good the last decade was, wasn't it? But I think there were so many good games that did come out, and you could list, like, if you were sitting in a non-focused environment, you could list about 40 games. But as soon as someone says pick 3, and you're just like, have I even played a game?
Yeah. So basically, what I did that, and if viewers, listeners can listen to last episode. I basically came up with like a handful of categories, and then was like, well, there's 2 or 3 games that fit these categories. So I had like 30 games in my top of the decade, and I just made sure that I set them all.
Fair.
Ben, though, you actually remember your top 2.
I remember my top 2, which was The Last of Us and The Witcher 3.
In the wrong order. And the last one shouldn't be on that fucking list at all.
I did throw up a little bit of chat about my top 10 up on Out of Lives last week before maybe, if I remember. I don't remember what order the rest of them were in, but The Witness was there. Red Dead 2 was there. Civilization 5. Yeah, a
lot of mine were strategy games. It's like Solaris, Civ 5, Civ 6.
Fucking loads of strategy games.
XCOM 2. Fucking XCOM 2. That's obviously one of my games of the decades.
Yeah.
XCOM 2.
I completely forgot about XCOM 2.
Yeah, but and then when you think about it, how could you forget about XCOM 2? Made myself all in tartan armour. That was fucking great. It was great.
I think I put Massive Chalice above XCOM 2 just because it did strat RPGs differently.
Fair.
But then I think those were like 2 of my top strat RPGs. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Mass Effect 2 and 3. Well, anyway, I'm having a crisis now. I'm going to be 30 in this decade, so I'm just kind of like, games didn't exist before me. That's fine.
This is it. Adil's argument was that the world ended, the universe ended in 2012, so anything after that just doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly.
I can't believe you remember that. I forgot I said that. Yeah.
Right. I would say let's move on to our next topic, but I've actually absolutely smashed that beer back.
Jesus, man. I've been trying to nurse this one because I was being a good boy.
I've smashed it back.
I'm kind of smashing this quite quickly. I'm surprised. So how do you talk?
Before we move on to the beers, Lauren, can you think of a game that came out in the past 10 years, or in general, that people might have missed that you're like, you should really revisit it? And then I'll finish this beer, and then we'll all be on top.
A game that you should have really finished it.
Or tried it. Just like an under the radar. It's been, people mostly hit the big hits.
It's such a hard question because.
Oh yeah, I know.
It asked me last year. I'd had an answer to that, but for some reason now I'm just, what was an under the radar game? What's my dick card game? You don't play this. So thinking on the latter half of the decade, Into the Breach, a lot of people haven't played.
Oh, fucking great game.
Yeah, a lot of people are put off by it, and then a lot of people are put off by Switch games by the cost. And even though it's not a particularly expensive game, Switch games are an investment for a lot of people because the Switch was an expensive console for what it is, let's be real. And in every game, unless you're into, that Smith story, if you pre-order, you get a $5 off. That's how I buy all my Switch games. They're so fucking expensive, and they barely ever come down in sales. Like Pokemon's a £60 investment and all that. I think it was a game that it kicked your arse really hard early on. It wasn't like if you get XCOM, say, and put on the easiest set, you can breeze through it in about 10-20 hours. Into the Breach was relentless, and I was sitting there like, am I just fucking dumb? Am I just stupid that I can't get to grips with this? But then when you beat that level and you go over it and you figure it out and you're like, I smashed it. You're just like, got to put it down now because I nearly rage broke a Switch, but it's fine. Another one.
You see Ben just flexing in your
I played it. I played it on the PC, but I would play a level like when I'm like working in the philosophy library on my dissertation, because that's how you work. Is you take a break and so I'd play like a couple rounds of a level. If I could get it, be like, well, I'm frustrated now. Might as well just do work. Yeah. But yeah, I really like
work to procrastinate a shit gaming. Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, I think you're exactly right, because it's like this weird. It's a puzzle game. It's not quite a strategy RPG, and like as soon as you get that, then you're like, okay, the point is figure out the puzzle. And then when you beat enough levels, you get more tools to do puzzles better, and then you can start like the second stage of that game was what are my favorite ways of solving puzzles. Now I have this arsenal of different mechs, and I can put them together. But I still have these other ones where I know, oh shit, this level's never going to be beat by my optimal team, so I'll just swap the pieces. And it's fantastic. I introduced a handful of people who hate strategy or never play strategy. And they were like, cool, this is really fun. And then they like picked up something like XCOM or whatever. Like, I hate this. No. I like the puzzle part. I didn't like the hexagonal gameplay part.
No. I don't have anything cool, I'm afraid. I think my only other one I would tell people to play, and it's because I have a huge big love for big long RPGs, it would have to be go back into the Mass Effect trilogy or play The Witcher. And I know it's really beaten down. I think the one that just overlooked The Witcher, to kind of circle back myself, is Hearts of Stone. People will go into Blood and Wine because it's a full big 30+ hour adventure, and it's, you know, slightly remastered, the colour palette's completely different. Whereas Hearts of Stone is just, it's so dark and gritty, and it's got the most challenging fight out of the whole 152-hour saga. And it's a great fight because the guy continuously regens health and one-shots you. Whether you're playing on easy or death march, you're just sitting there like, that's me. I can't do this. I've actually don't like it. But once you figure out how to do it, and a challenging fight and overcoming is good. But it's all romance and dialogue that comes to these games. And then people hated Mass Effect 3 because of the ending. And I think especially with players who grew up when they were young at the start of the 10s and are now heading into their adult years or later teens. And they go, oh, but the discourse around Mass Effect 3 and everyone bullied them to change the ending. You're just like, ignore that and go and actually romance Garrus. Go play as Femship, romance Garrus, have the time of your life. Back on.
Travel the universe with Garrus under your arm, just you're done.
There's no, I mean, Tally is the only other, you know, allowed. So everyone else is got Thane is allowed, but he dies. You're kind of like, but I don't have anything cool. Like, I went from gaming up to like 2005 with like Zoo Tycoon, had a big break, and then come back in like 2010, and it was like there's a year to Skyrim, I used to play Oblivion and Fallout, and the first time I handed Oblivion, I was like, what the fuck's Oblivion? This is just Lord of the Rings. And by the end of it, I was like, Lord of the Rings can burn. This is the true fantasy land. But no, it's it's funny though, at 10 years a game, it's like, pick your last movie in 10 years, people can bring that off, pick your favourite TV show, because things run so concurrent, but you put a game in, everyone, you just shut themselves. I was like, we took 2 days on the website to come up with 50 games of the decade, trying to like, we did voting systems, we wrote everything out, and we're all still sitting there like, this is a garbage list, but The Witcher was #1, so it's fine. I had nothing to do with that, obviously, but...
You didn't get like 12 votes just in that thing, just like, just change it on your
for the #1 vote, so I was like 25 right away, and I'm like, we're never pulling this back, and I was like, sorry.
Perfect. Right, I'm going to open another bit.
Excellent.
Because I am ready. So I've got collaboration. This is Amundsen and Other Half. Ooh.
Are those waffles?
Yeah, it's called Brown Cheese and Waffles. Double IPA.
I mean, that sounds real not good.
Yeah, I assume it's just the name. I can't imagine it's gonna come through.
I had a beer, I had a lambic, and we sniffed it, we went, that smells like nutritional yeast. And then we drank it, and we sat there for a minute, and we all went, so that tastes like brie. It was a beer that tasted like brie. And we drank it, because it was £19 a bottle, but we weren't happy about it. I didn't want a cheese
lambic that tasted like cheese.
Yeah. Ugh. It was a bad time.
I mean, I love lambics.
The one we had before, it tasted like sugary plum syrup. It was the most delicious thing in the whole world. And then we went on to the cheese beer, and that's how it's been. Well, actually, to be really, really gamey and nerdy, we nicknamed it the Emmentaler, like the swords from The Witcher 3, but that's how, even though it was a brie, I love brie, but in a beer, it's kind of like...
Yeah. I mean, I love brie, and I love, like, baking brie and having it melty, but I don't want to fucking drink that shit. I never want to drink a brie.
No.
That's fair. Well, we'll see what this is like. Yeah. 8.5%, double IPA. That's all I get. Malted barley, oats, hops, yeast, and water.
Good old water.
So I'm going to try that. Adam.
I've got the Collective Projects IPA No8.
Ooh.
It's a double IPA with Simcoe, Moterra, and Columbus hops. It's a boisterous 8%, and it's got this adorable arrows.
Oh, an angel.
Right. A dog angel on a living cloud.
Yum.
Yeah. And that's all the flavor text. And of course, I got it because it's so rare to find a Canadian beer in Bristol, and it's Collective Arts is from Hamilton, Ontario, and they are every so often show up at bottle shops here, and I've always been impressed by them.
Yeah, absolutely. You seem to get them in waves almost. You'll have them for sort of 2 or 3 months, and then you'll find another beer from them, and then they're just gone. Just don't see them again for a little bit. But it's nice to know. I need to go back to the bottle shop, don't I, now? If you found one out,
always.
I need to go back, yeah.
I mean, this was a couple of weeks ago. It was before I left for Paris for New Year's, so it was like Christmas-ish.
Okay.
May have some left over though. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Corsicata has reasonable turnover for the things that are like spot. Like, there's people clearly like us who are just like, oh, this is new. It's probably not gonna be around for a while. But
Yeah.
But clearly, I mean, the way importing works is there's probably was a large import and then split between bottle shops. That's usually how it works. So hopefully you can find that somewhere else.
Keep my eye open.
Yeah, definitely. Lauren, you just got the one this evening? You've got another beer?
I've only brought one upstairs with me because I thought I was going to sip this a lot slower. I have about half the bottle out. I think I might have one out the back, but I'll suffer through. I'll maybe
Okay.
need to leave. I'll let you
That's
know.
fair.
We can always
work that as
pause.
well. Yeah. Well, we can pause. We can just riff.
No, I just leave my absence in. I'll just come like stumbling back in after, because I'm sure by the time I go downstairs, outside and back in, it'll hit me, and I'll just come back like. It's fine.
No beer in hand. Good. So, Amundsen and other half. It's got a lovely fruity nose to it.
Considerably better. It looks much better than the last one we had.
Yes, it's a lot hazy.
a lot more
It's actually a very, very similar kind of colour. It's got a little bit more. It's a deeper, slightly deeper, kind of bronze to it than the previous beer. It doesn't quite come through on the camera, but it's got a lovely nose. Oh wow,
You
that's
look
super.
happier. You look much happier than this.
It's got this sort of flatness to it. So you kind of expect it to be a bit more big, a bit boisterous, being a double IPA, and it actually kind of hits you with that flavour. You get the tropical fruits come through, getting a nice piney sort of finish to it, a little bit of bitterness, but actually it's got that kind of non-carbonated kind of flatness that you get from like a more traditional English ale or something like that. Which is really interesting, especially with it being, someone like Other Half, an American brewer, and Amundsen, who are kind of like big juice boys. It's an interesting combination of those two. That big juicy flavour, but just this kind of flat, dead mouthfeel to it almost.
Fair. Less happy than I thought then. Your face betrayed you.
I'm going to have to smash it back, aren't I? Just to see.
Oh dear.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that at all. How's yours?
So it is hazy as fuck. It's actually less yellow than it seems on camera because I've got a super yellow light in my room. I would say it's like if you diluted pineapple juice, like half pineapple juice, half water. Like, it's actually quite pale. It just doesn't look. It looks much more orangey on the camera, I think.
Yeah, it almost looks a bit translucent.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really like you can't see through it. It's deceptively pale. It smells gorgeous. It's got this lovely tropical fruit. Again, I would say some pineapple and some passion fruit going on. Yeah, and a hint of something a little bitter, almost. I hesitate on resiny, but like there's something in the nose that just sort of pulls back from the sweetness, which is really satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Hmm.
Is that a good wow or a bad wow?
It is a good wow. It's got a slight citrus, but mostly those tropical fruit notes are carried through. I know it was dry hopped, and so I'm always a little concerned when you dry hop with different hops that it ends up smelling totally different than what it tastes like. It tastes much. There's more nuance. There's more depth going on in the taste. You get again the citrus comes forward, but also some malts. There's a nice balance between sort of a tropical, slightly citrus start to you're getting a little biscuitiness right away.
Nice.
It ends wet, which is what I prefer versus the last one where it's like I'm going to have a sip just because I want to have it in my mouth. Yeah. I don't like being forced to drink my beer. I'd rather force myself.
See, with
anyway.
tropical fruits, I really like ghosts and sour beers. What's your thoughts on those? Like, we had one, I think it was an Overtone over Christmas, and it was like eating a Starburst. It was just so fruity,
just like
and so sour, and you were just like, wow. But honestly, it's like a mixture of a dry. It starts dry in your mouth and ends up wet, but still just because it's so sour and like you sort of tan it all over.
So I like that. I mean, well, I guess I'm fine with tartness. Like I think in the past couple of years, I think Ben, Lucy, and I have all turned 180 degrees on sours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we used to not be big fans, and then we had two summers ago was the summer of sours, and it was like, oh no, you can make these really well.
Good summer. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah, great. But yeah, so I mean, I like it, if it's the flavor that's like, oh, I want to do more things, versus like something about the mouthfeel where it's like I'm done with the flavor, but now I feel like compelled to have the beer versus I'm reaching for the beer. And like tartness and sourness tends to be like, okay, well it's sour, so at a certain point I'm gonna try and reinvigorate that sourness. That seems to be me chasing it versus being chased. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Excuse me.
I love it.
I was just gonna say, I think you're right that over the last couple of years we have kind of like turned around on sours, and you know, as they started coming out, we started to see a bit more nuance in them. More people turn their hand to them, and you start to kind of pick out who is very good at doing them, and maybe sort of like the more established breweries who were churning out sours and stuff had to then change their recipes a little bit and kind of adapt to meet everybody else. I seem to remember that I don't think I've had a sour since we went to Birmingham for our night out and ended up drinking a bottle of Lambic on a curb.
But how good is Lambic though? Have you
Don't
had
remember.
number 3?
Don't remember.
You had number 3 twice over Christmas and New Year and balling.
That was...
Right. Some of them are dead yeasty though, and it's sour in the front and it's just all yeast in the back, and you're like, no, this is not the palate I went for. We were in Copenhagen 2 years ago nearly, and it was Tiny Rebel, and they did a sour, and it was rhubarb and custard, and it's the most fucking delicious thing I've ever had. It was just like the wee sweetie you used to get, just absolute rhubarb and a soury custard, and you were just like, why would I drink anything else ever again? And then they discontinued it, and I've never got over it. Like, it was 2018, I'm still not over it.
Yeah, I mean,
get a petition, get a change.org thing going.
But it's the double-edged sword of good craft beer, because you want your brewers to innovate, and so they can't sit. And so cherish the memory and hope it comes back. The one thing I'll say
would you mind if I nipped away to get another drink?
Yeah, for sure. I'll finish talking about this while you grab your beer.
Sorry, I'll be 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah, no worries. So there is the resinous the resin I sort of hinted at that might be in the nose. It's definitely there in the finish, and it's super light.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there, and I think it's what's giving that's what's giving a good finish, like the slightly bitter. But again, it's given what hops do we have? Simcoe, Motuera, and Columbus. I was expecting a much more bitter finish,
right?
And it just wasn't. It's just not. Like, it's super smooth, which I really like. Like, it's an 8%. It's not that sweet. Couldn't tell. Nothing lingers too long. It's super easy to drink. But I do like that it goes from tropical to slightly piney at the end, and it's just a very nuanced pininess that just helps keep the finish sort of tight. So again, it leaves me a little wet, but there's this lingering bitterness.
Yeah.
Resiny bitterness, which is enough for me to be like, well, if I don't want another sip, there's a taste in my mouth that's lingering, and I can just relax. So I don't need to, like, if I want taste in my mouth, I could just let this sit, and I if I chose to, I could sip this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to choose to do that, but
yes, I feel exactly the same way about this Amundsen, another half collab. It's got a nice front-loaded fruitiness to it, and it feels like it's got a slight bit of citrus in there as well, just to give it that little bit of tang, and then you move on to that piney, resinous finish, a little tiny, like, it's not as bitter as kind of as the flavors lead you through. You kind of expect a bit more bitterness, and it's not quite there, which is fine. I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is the natural progression. Actually, they've done something else, and it works really well. They don't hit you with this big bitter finish. It's just this nice combination then of the fruits and that piney note coming together. I think this is almost what the last beer was trying to do.
I like that they're treading the same track.
Get there, yeah. They're, I mean, I don't know what the hops were in this one now. It doesn't tell me at all anywhere, which is fine. And you know, the name Brown Cheese and Waffles.
How is it?
It's good.
Sorry, I'm back.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think the name doesn't come across at all in the flavour. So I don't know whether
anything waffly.
So that's what I'm trying
or are you
to
waffling
find it.
about
I'm
it?
trying to look for it. Anything cheesy, anything. Well, you'd think maybe like a little bit buttery, perhaps, or maybe a little bit sweet from the waffle, or a little bit maybe malty, perhaps. And I can't quite find anything that would tie me up to the name. And it's just a name, I think.
Is it a nice beer, but with
so where is it from again?
So it's Amundsen and Other Half. So Amundsen are from, where are Amundsen from? Norway?
Why I ask is because Norway. So one of my housemates actually has been to Norway recently and brought back some brown cheese, and it's an odd taste. It's sort of
did you
more.
Post this in social media?
Sorry?
I said, did you write this on Twitter anywhere? I'm sure I read the phrase brown cheese literally in the last week, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I thought, is it made with brown butter? Is it meant to be a nutty kind of taste? But
so I'd get that with the end, with a little bit of the pininess, a little bit nutty, a little bit resinous. Yeah, I could see that if that is what it would be.
And the fucking no.
So the brown cheese is the leftovers from cheese making.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct of cheese making, and so when the cheese is removed from the milk, so it's firm but kind of like spreadable, but it's firm but spreadable. It's basically it's sweeter than most cheese,
like a good pate.
Her previous housemates hated it, and so she was like, "Oh, I'll share this last." And it turns out all of us were like, "This is really good." She's like, "Oh, I thought I could be kind and not share because you'd hate it." And then we ate all her cheese. But yeah, it's like it's a little sweet, and kind of buttery and like hard buttery in texture.
Nice.
Does that help with? I mean, it's a thing I wouldn't want on waffles.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want syrupy goodness on waffles. I don't want rough to spread sweetness.
No.
Lauren, take that as you will.
What beer have you got?
Oh,
so I don't have any beer left, but I have stayed in the interest of craft. I present to you a small
gin?
batch. It is gin.
Yeah.
It's habanero and lime gin.
Oh wow,
It is a tasty boy. It's very. I've had it on its own. It's quite burny and sour, as you would expect. This was a Christmas gift for me. It's a good 40% small batch boy. I'm having it with, because I'm an absolute wank, I've got Fentimans Mediterranean.
Yes.
Not Fentimans. The other one, Thingy Tree.
Yeah, okay.
Mediterranean tonic,
Yeah.
and I have some lime and some ice. And
Excellent.
I will taste it for you.
Don't forget to take a picture of what you've drank so we can put it on our Instagram.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
It's a really, like, do you know when you bite down the habanero, it's like, well, for me with the habanero, it's like a really quick hit of sweet, and it goes sour and at the heat really quickly. But then the lime picks it back up, and it's exactly that. So the journey, the Mediterranean tonic. So obviously, if you think about who's usually eating habanero and limes, it ain't fucking Scottish people sitting on a rocky beach in Islay, so I mean, drinking whiskey. So it's got that whole good Mediterranean vibe, and it is absolutely delicious. It is an acquired taste gin. No, like my sister runs a Ginstagram, so she gets sent gin to review. I get sent games to review. My sister gets sent gin to review. Right? She's also
I'm in the wrong family.
She's a fucking hustler on the side.
Nice.
But she didn't like this gin because she liked every other kind of gin. This gin, because she doesn't have a spicy palate, it was just like, what the hell am I drinking? Whereas I'm sitting this like the usual way I would mix this up, and it's literally. Do you know, I have to go from my shop. I had no chilies in, I had no ginger in, because I used them earlier on, because I would usually have this with a stick of chilli and a stick of ginger to really bring it out, but instead I've just got lime, because it's Basic Fix Tuesday, so it's fine.
It sounds delicious.
I will be honest, Greg's like, oh, there's one beer left, and we had people over for New Year and they brought their own booze. I was like, oh, what beer is it? And he went, it's a Heineken, and I was just like, no. I'll bring the gin.
I mean, to be fair, when I was, I think in June, I was at my sister and brother-in-law's place in Saskatoon, and they're not big beer drinkers. So I think I recorded a podcast when we thought I wouldn't, because I was free that afternoon, and I had a Red Stripe.
Oh, yes.
I tasted a Red Stripe on St.
They have them in nightclubs and bars down my way, and like the shit end of fucking Glasgow and everything else. Like, do you want a Red Stripe? And I'm like, exotic, yes.
Imported.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it comes in such a cute little bottle.
Well, it does for you.
You get it in cans.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like fucking 330 and 660 cans.
Oh, that's hilarious. Red Stripe in Canada is like these chibi bottles. Little small...
It's nice in Canada though. It's not as shit, but it's like imported Guinness is piss. So they're drinking piss water. But anyway.
Lucy would have all of our heads for speaking ill of Red Stripe.
I didn't speak ill of it. I just said that I happened to taste it on TikTok.
That's true.
I'll drink it over tenants, but only just.
Yeah, fair enough.
How do you feel about 4X? No, let's move on. And we'll talk about what we're going to talk about.
2020.
You said we all bring our own thing. I actually came up with a couple of questions for you too. If
Ooh.
you wouldn't mind me asking.
Do it, yeah. Let's do that.
We all have a segment. It's yours now.
I talked a lot, and I really don't mean to overtake. So
no, you're not.
Mate, do it. It's fine. I can just sit back.
Ask me about my job and your life, because everyone is a bit confused about what I do. Like my mum and dad thought I was a drug dealer. Because they're like, how can you actually write about games and get money? And like, you must be dealing drugs. And I was like, fine, go well.
It's that side hustle.
Exactly.
Hey, I'm looking for one right now, so if you give me some tips.
But,
Philosophy's not paying the bills in a month or so, so I've got to...
my question for so Aadil, you go.
No, I was clapping my hands on. I want to hear these questions.
Okay, so moving into 2020. We're a very, very angry year last year, I feel. Gamers have been increasingly angry, fans have been increasingly angry, writers have been increasingly angry over the last decade. 2019, I felt, was a very, very angry year. What are you most looking forward to and or least looking forward to going into 2020 and going into the 20s, really? For what the gaming atmosphere is going to be like, whether like you're a consumer, you're a creator, you're a developer.
You mean
what are you looking forward to? So, for example, I'm worried about the level of anger it's going to escalate, especially towards women, trans people, people of colour. It's really doubled down last year, and I have to say, as a white woman, I didn't get that bad. I got dick pics, I got date threats. Like, I'm used to dealing with that. people of colour, the trans community, the LGBT community, they're getting a really fucking hard time, and I'm really worried about my brothers and sisters throughout the industry, no matter, you know, developers to writers, what they're starting to face, and I'm worried, especially 2020, and I think it's because the re-election's going to be coming up. I'm worried that we're all the countries that we think are progressive are going to, you know, single-handedly select right-hand leaders. Where does that leave us in games, basically? I mean, I'm worried, but I really want progression. But technology-wise and people coming into the industry-wise, we couldn't be more progressive. I think, you know, even my network, gamer network, the top, we are really, really holding in and not hiring white men with beards. We're really starting to get progressive.
Sorry, Ben.
I think the whole industry's switched on. No offense, man. But
I'm an architect. I don't need to write
really
my games.
Want to diversify, but on the other hand, that's our bubble where we all thought we were going to vote Corbyn, and everyone else fucking right wing. And I'm starting to wonder: are we wrong? Are they wrong? Am I living in a nightmare? Am I living in a daydream? So, kind of.
I mean, absolutely. We'll start off. The first statement to be made is yes, we are all living in a nightmare. Absolutely, shit has hit the fan, and it's hit the fan in such a way politically in the UK and in the US that we do seem to be shifting very differently than we were in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it's a lot to do with people not kind of finding their voice, but finding their little echo chambers. So things like, we're recording through Discord right now, but things like Discord, things like Facebook groups, Twitter, yeah, absolutely. They create places where people feel that they can just say what they want, whether that starts off in the guise of a joke and then moves into you know, actually kind of thoughts and how they kind of feel and stuff. You've got a finger up.
Yeah, finish your thought. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So I know you've got these, like, what do you want to see happen and what do you think? I'm starting off on a very negative note. I don't see it getting any better.
So the one thing I wanted to add to the echo chamber thing is it's the tyranny of the algorithm is really the problem. Because, like, so we've always had things like echo chambers in the past. You read the right newspaper you want, but the other newspapers were still around. Yeah. But now, because the Twitter, Facebook, etc. algorithms are based on what do you click on, I will give you more of the same. It makes it from, look, there's three pieces of information, like source of information you can have in your town: national left-wing paper, national right-wing paper, and local paper, and you are exposed to those. So now you don't have that exposure, and instead what happens is the algorithms are even worse. Not only are they only giving you the one thing, but also based on your clicks, they will give you more of the same thing. So you end up at a fixed point of your perspective. So even when
the top tweets thing, even if it's the most popular person or the most liked thing, and it might be the same issue 8 times in a row, and then some random person's tweet, and then back to that, and you're completely right. The algorithm, I think Twitter put it out to make it seem like, oh, we're going to make it so it doesn't seem like an echo chamber for you, but instead what they did was privately double down. And I think if you're not savvy to Twitter, you become victim to that really quickly. You know, you'd even being left wing, you become victim to that. We're all sitting there going like,
it's on both sides.
Not got a chance, and then it voted in by a huge majority. And you're like,
how did the fuck did that happen? Yeah, I mean, so the problem is they're aiming for you to click on all the things that they present to you, which means if they can get you in that fixed point of I will click on all those things, they get the clicks they want. But that means that their impetus is to put you in the most narrow categorization, even if you don't want that. Yeah. So what ends up happening is there'll be 5 or 6 things that look like different news sources that are parroting the same thing, because that's what the right and left do, right? There's a bunch of different sources that are saying the same thing, and so you get to see 5 different people saying the same thing, and you feel like you're being exposed to different sources, but in fact the actual different sources you don't even get to click on because the algorithm has already figured out you don't want to click on it. So you think that you're getting a broad spectrum opinion, and so even as someone who's not that savvy, you think, well, I saw that on 5 things. It's clear, like, even if a lot of people just don't have this moment where it's like, oh, but am I just taking this from the same news resource? But even the ones who do have that moment, because of the tyranny of the algorithm, they'll think, I have this moment. No, I've seen it in 4 or 5 different places. So this is fine. I'm definitely in the right. Anyone else who says otherwise is bollocks, because all of the information I see says X. Yeah. And that, I mean, that's the big problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've got some friends who work in philosophy of this nonsense, and I think the biggest challenge for politics, life, gaming, etc., is to fight against this. And unfortunately, you need people like Facebook and Twitter to own up to the fact that what their goals are not getting the users the most informative to the most informative place. Their move is get the users to continue to use my platform. And actually, absolutely, confirmation bias is the easiest way to do that.
And I think that leads on quite well to what I want to see kind of moving forward. We've already started to see it, and it's the idea that we have more supportive communities for people. So it's not an echo chamber. It's more the idea that someone can find a community of like-minded people that they don't necessarily share all of the same views with. They might be they might be slightly different in how they think some policies in politics should be in terms of other things, but where they can feel that they can express themselves and have constructive discussions around that. I think a lot of the problem is a lot of the time is that someone puts forward an idea and they just get shouted at, and someone says, hey, look, this very traumatic thing happened to me, I want to talk about it with people, and suddenly lots of people just attack them for no reason. People they don't know, random people. Absolutely. Really? And I want to see just a much more tolerant and more accepting, and a more accepting kind of society, obviously, but spaces for people to be able to kind of be like, this is who I am, let's just talk about it.
I think what's kind of juxtaposed for me is I've got the outlet. Like, if I pitched anything like that to my editor, if they turned me down and they go, we know which outlet to go to, whatever else, honestly, the first couple of weeks in VG 24/7, they let me write that very emotive piece about The Witcher. But what I did in that strategically, for myself and kind of for readers, so it didn't become so bogged down, is I mentioned kind of my diagnosis, whatever, once, and then talked about the rest, and all the comments at the bottom were, OP doesn't understand mental illness, OP doesn't know what she's talking about, and you're just like, see, if you actually read it, you'd have read, here's the wee formal diagnosis, it doesn't make up the whole part of the essay, but here's the wee bit. And I feel like people are reactionary, and that's nothing new. That's been since Marilyn Manson was poisoning your children, Judas Priest are putting satirical messages in things. This is not a new thing, sensationalism about it. But I think even in the safe space of gaming, as much as I think it's to do with peerdom, if I was to write some more personal pieces, my peers would turn around and go, say, really emotive use of language, really good outlet, we all support you, but the readership would come down and go, we're not reading a gaming website for your toils with mental health, we're reading it for guides and news. But then that same cohort will turn around and moan about guides and go, we're not reading this for guides, we want news and opinions and features, and you're like, fucking pick one, pick one and stick with it. And it's the same, and this is why I don't really deal in Discord chats an awful lot, because you get people who will double down on all of that, and you're like, when are you happy? And it's like, when they put out bits of content I want, and you're like, what is that? Because you can you're right.
Well, you also don't know.
And it's okay for the consumer not to know what they want just yet, but the thing is, they don't realise is they keep giving us clicks by coming and reading everything, and see if they comment, it counts more, and I'm just like, give me hate, just pile it on me. And I think, I've had a discussion with other women, like you mentioned earlier about, you drive people off the platform. That's the primary goal now. When someone pisses you off, it's getting them out of sight, out of mind. And I don't agree with that, whether it's right wing or left wing. Like, people are allowed a voice, and you are allowed to admit that person and live in your echo chamber. There's nothing wrong with living in an echo chamber. That is what small towns are built on, is living in the I'm alright Jack. I don't agree with it wholeheartedly, but people have done that. That's how we've persevered through communities and all the rest of it. But I've thought about leaving platforms for different reasons, whether it's been an individual or a group of individuals, and kind of I used to have DMs open because you try when you get into it, you want to be open-minded, you want to help people, but the more it's going on, the more threats, and it is threats you get. There's no beating around the bush of, I'll come and find you and I'll rape you, and you're kind of like, you're from San Francisco, so if you can find all your way over to where I live in the remote part of Scotland, fucking, do you know what, I'll give you a beach, just so that it's that kind of shit, and it is really like, do your day-to-day getting that kind of low-level thing, you do get used to it, but what I used to...
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy, but on the other hand, and this is kind of what made me think about it, and why I wanted to ask this question, was always I used to do nursing, and I'd be stuck in a ward for 12 hours, potentially, with a patient hitting on me, hitting me, whatever else, and then come back the next day and do the same. You don't have the option to delete a profile or delete the app or log off for a while. You have to keep coming back in the scenario. So I think, on the one hand, I've got that experience that makes me more resilient to the bullshit of, no offence, man, because it's mostly men.
It's fine.
Give a shit online.
Yeah, no,
it's for new people coming in the industry, and they're coming in, and no matter what their background is, they're logging on, and they go, I've made a really cool thing, and their peers are going, that is cool, let's reshare, and then some artists come and go, kill yourself, and you're just like, how do you deal with that? Yeah. You've came from university into the Twitter sphere where it's either kill yourself, delete yourself, or let me rape you, and you're just like, I'll just delete that. I'll just delete myself. And how the fuck do you deal with that?
I think it's one of those things that say.
I brought the humour down it.
Nah, mate.
That was my question.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
At a point, I thought, we love this.
No. I mean, we don't shy away from this shit in Tank Top. I try to pepper in the odd pun. It's fun right now, but no, that's fine.
I think this is where smaller sites, like hobbyist sites and things, kind of. They come in a little bit, so you could be someone who's just starting out in writing and say, I haven't got a website, I haven't got a blog, I could set one up, brilliant. Or you can try and find some other people. So someone could turn up and say, hey, Out of Lives, I really want to write about games. I don't have anywhere to put it. Do you mind if I stick some stuff up on your site? And we would say, yes, of course. It's a community site for people who just want to write. Go for it. Do that. And it gives them a bit of exposure. It gives them the opportunity for us to take a look at things and to critically kind of like look at their writing and stuff like that. But the thing it doesn't do is prepare them for what they may then experience by putting themselves out online. We don't have, Out of Lives doesn't have a big readership and doesn't have a critical readership, let's say, or doesn't have cunts that are clicking on links looking for people to give shit to. We have people that read the site who will go, I'm interested in what this person writes, I will go to that and I'll have a discussion with them about it.
We're at the level of like even our like really well-read articles are not still commented on, like they're just shared. They like we see the
shared a lot, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I actually
comments on Facebook and all the rest of it. Some of the hate that I do remember even in 2016. Some of the comments you would get is if this person hasn't played the game. In fact, it was one of Adam's articles. And he hasn't played the game, and you were just like, I mean, he has.
He wrote the fucking review.
It's not Dragon Ball Fighters, and it's clearly played the fucking game. Like he clearly knows what he's talking about. It might not have an Oxford lexicon, but he knows what he's talking about. And it's like he's clearly an idiot. He's not into Dragon Ball, and you're like, so fuck. He's still enjoying the game.
But also, he definitely is. Yeah, I mean, so to circle back to no, it's not. Don't apologize. It's to circle back to the original question.
I
want what Ben is saying. It's just not going to happen. What I really want is platforms to take ownership of what they've done.
Yep.
And also, ideally, so like I actually have a lot of faith in the Zoomers. Because I think they grew up with this dysfunctional internet that we and like when I started on the internet, it wasn't dysfunctional, and like I'm 36. I've been on the internet for a long time, 22 years actually, no less, more. I was younger than 14 when I was on the internet.
I'm nearly 20 years on the internet, so yeah.
But like I remember like going on IRC channels in Australia because I found like-minded people, and like. The promise of the internet when it was new, because I'm old as shit and I remember that, was like you could find people who got you.
Yeah.
And then you compound that with time, ease of use and access, and social media having these weird algorithms, and that becomes echo chambers.
Yep.
The reason why people have reason why we've gotten this place is because for a lot of people, it was like I didn't have anyone in my hometown who got me, and then suddenly I had a community. The problem is that got real toxic because now these communities are millions of people or thousands of people strong, and there is a lot of like, to be a member of this community, you have to pass the test.
Yes.
Like purity tests are bullshit, but also they don't work on 1,000 people things. But like, we had this weird move when social media came in, where it was like, oh yeah, everyone's welcome. Cool, you like D&D, fine. So you don't like D&D, you like fucking Pathfinder because you don't like D&D 4. You're not a real D&D fan, and like that, and we had that gatekeeping. It turned from what makes us in common to gatekeeping really quickly, and we never got to the point of figuring out that gatekeeping is bad. So my one hope is that in the past year, I've seen a lot of pushback on gatekeeping, obviously in small silos. And so my hope is that we get to a point where gatekeeping is seen as clearly a stupid thing.
I feel like the circle I move in, it's seen as, then you very, very quickly turn into cancel culture, and that's another thing that's, because some people don't know they've accidentally gatekept, and some of that's a privilege check, some of that's they're not well educated enough. Like when I really started into gaming, I really didn't know what Gamergate was, and I disagreed with it as soon as I found out what it was. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, what the fuck is this? What is Gamergate? What is this all about? And you read about it, and you're just like, wow. And some people don't want to read about it. They're surface on this, you've not played, I don't know, Crusader Kings, you're not a grand strategy fan. Like, that's gatekeeping. And then, funnily, that was one of the points in Need when the shot of it and everything else. It's all, when one of the things they're really pushing with CKC is it's user friendly and everything else. And it's because the interface was gatekeeping. If you weren't a white middle aged man, sorry, with high intelligence, you weren't fucking getting Crusader Kings 2, so we'll take a break.
So,
yep.
8.2% beer is really kicked in. 8.5% beer, that's really kicked in now. And we're coming back in with our most anticipated games of the up-and-coming year, 2020. Lauren, I'm going to start with you. I think I might know what it is.
You might. I don't think this will come as a surprise. It's Animal Crossing? No. I mean, I am. Cyberpunk.
I mean, isn't it technically Animal Crossing : New Horizons? I mean, if you're going to do the reference. Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
so I mean, no one else has heard this, but I had to do it well, actually, in the spirit of what was cut.
So yeah, Cyberpunk's my main bitch. I'm very looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, I don't know, having a metal skeleton and having knives come out my arms and killing my enemies. I don't know. I don't know what. Everything and nothing to expect. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to Animal Crossing. I'm looking forward to losing my entire life again to.
Are you an
Tedium.
Are you an Animal Crossing fan?
An ex fan. I had to leave it behind. I had to because it took over my damn life.
Did you play the mobile one?
We can't talk about it, right? No,
okay,
it's too much.
Cool. Yep.
It's
yeah,
too
yeah,
much.
that's fine. Yeah.
There's therapy for the amount of my farm show. They need me, but it's a bad time you set alarms to go. You're getting up to like brush your teeth. I'm getting up to tend to my fucking farm. But no,
fair enough.
I don't know. Halo Infinite's the other one I'm looking forward to. I have to say, I feel that they used the original music in the trailer. I mean, the deal's been cut. We're going to have a simple HUD, a simple shooter with a ball-in soundtrack, and we have a great time. That is what I'm hoping for. Maybe. And the CKC for reasons.
Yeah, that's fair. Good. Adam.
There you go.
I turned to you first.
Okay.
I say that because Cyberpunk's it was my number one. I have to think of a different thing, so you have to go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk's kind of my number one. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit under the radar. But Final Fantasy VII Remake, I can see just consuming a lot of my time.
All the leaks for it so far?
I've ignored them. I've not looked at anything.
I watched the leaked opening cutscene to just see what the graphics were.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh shit! I want to play this game again."
Yep.
I mean, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I've replayed Final Fantasy VII probably 4 times, and I think I will have like a cognitive dissonance when I play this remake because I'd be like, why does Cloud have fingers? Cloud shouldn't have fingers. He should have blocky fucking stupid fists.
I can see the sales numbers for the original of that game doing very well within the first 2 weeks of the release of the remake. Because obviously it's like a stunted, it's a stunted edition. We don't know quite yet how far it's going to go. Whether it's just the entirety of Midgar. Whether it's just a little bit of that. We've seen the bike chase, so you'd expect it to be.
Well, but they also
Midgar,
said they were expanding on the Midgar, so whatever happens in Midgar will be more than happened in the original game. And that's actually why I'm not like, this is my number one thing. Like, I love Final Fantasy VII. I obviously played it a bunch. I would love to play it in a different way. Like, even if it's not what I want, like, that'd be super interesting. But the fact that I have no idea what paying like 60 quid for a segment of the game that they aren't even clear about which segment, that's the thing that I hate the most about this game.
Yeah, I mean, they know.
I'm fine with it being totally different.
They have to know now where it finishes and
but
where that hard stop point is.
But everything that's been released has been like shot for shot, but they've been very explicit that they're not doing a shot for shot thing, and it's like, I like that story. And I like it for super nostalgic reasons. And so if you're expanding on it, I'm cool. But also, like, if you're asking for 60 quid to go through the first third of disc 1 of 3, I could just replay that game again.
For like
free.
12 quid.
No, for free, because I own it on so many platforms.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, if I go back in February to meet my niece in North America, just got born on January 1st, I can get my original PC discs, which are still at my parents' place.
Nice. Would they run still?
I don't know, but I could also pirate it on the basis of owning it. But like, I own it on Steam, I've owned it on PlayStation, I've owned it on PC disc. Like, I could play this game.
It's somewhere.
This game.
Yeah.
So, my worst case scenario is the reviews are like, yeah, it does the thing, but isn't this a great game? And then I'm like, cool, it's a great game. And nostalgia means I'll just play it on another platform because I've had it for ages.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a PS3 beside me that plays PS3,
Done.
PS1 games.
Done.
It's fun.
I've got the disc. I've got the PS1 discs in a box somewhere.
Oh, do you? I might need to borrow them. I don't have those here.
I've got 8 and 9. I don't know why they're the only 3 games I kept. Who knows why?
My PS3 is the OG with the emotion chip, so I can play PS2 games on it.
Nice.
But it's an NTSC because I'm from North America, so I tried to buy. Turns out, I was like, so I eBayed a game, PAL game. I can't play it on this machine, but it should be able to. This is the dumbest.
You just look at it now.
So I will say this to our listeners: at least we've gone past the stupid region control bullshit. Now everything's in the cloud, and so it doesn't matter, and that's really great.
Yeah. My final thing, again, Doom Eternal. I would imagine it would have been Game of the Year last year had it have released when it was on track to release. Yeah. It's now coming out at some point next year, and I just want to rip the shit out of demons and smash some stuff and chainsaw some things, flamethrower some stuff.
Fuck, Doom 2016's phenomenal. And I have all the faith in that team.
Ready for that soundtrack. Ready for that fucking soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will say the one thing this year that I'm interested in but hesitant is, as a person who owns VR shit, now that Ben has graciously given me a computer that will work because my my PC died and on the PCIe level, so I couldn't replace the fucking thing. Half-Life Alex,
Oh,
if the trailer is even like close to the level of interactivity that they're suggesting, I will play the fuck out of this game. I love that universe, but also like the idea of like pushing things aside on a shelf, like the idea that like everything's a physical object, you get to choose how to do it. Also, you're in the Half-Life universe. I happen to have like old now, but like VR gear. I will make sure that when that comes out, I have cobbled together a machine that can make that work, because I want to be in that universe, and I also want to try like to do VR in this way that it's always been promised. Like, one of my biggest problems with VR in a lot of cases is that like there are 3 things you can interact with, but there's 17 things in the room, and it just breaks the immersion. The whole point is object, pick it up, deal with it. Oh, if there's nothing I can deal with, I'll throw it behind my shoulder. But the fact that like I can't pick up most things, it becomes like this weird, disconnected adventure game where you're like, okay, what is the thing I can interact with now? What can I do with it? And it's like, well, no, the whole point is I'm supposed to feel in this world, and anything that I like look at and try and grab that doesn't work makes me not believe in this, and then the technology has failed. Like, and it feels like what they're pitching is you can just push things around in virtue of them being things. And I think that if that's what they're doing, that's the exact, like, that's the threshold we want from VR, which is none of this stuff matters. But the point is, if you choose to make it matter, you at least can interact with it, because otherwise,
And you'd imagine that they would be making, or at least putting the effort into a benchmark VR title as well.
I mean, they want to sell.
They want to sell units. They've killed fucking in the Valley of the Gods because they're cunts. But they've got VR game, great, brilliant. So you'd imagine that it's gonna be, as immersive as they can possibly make it.
Yeah. Like I said, so like that trailer, almost none of the Half-Life-y moments mattered. It was just the like really small moments of exactly. It was stupid shit like that. It was just like, wait, you can do that? Because I played in a VR where it's like you shouldn't be able to do that because no one can do that. It was like, oh, fuck. If everything's like this will be amazing, even if I hate the plot. Because so like Superhot VR, why I loved it was because you were in the world, and like the setting made sense, and everything you did made sense. Like the fact that it was you were in a game meant that like being stuck in a pod where you couldn't move around made sense. And because of that, everything I did was just super immersive. Other VR games try to like, as soon as you have to like click to teleport, you're like, I'm not really walking around, etc. You lose that immersion. And with this, it seems like you can move around to a certain extent, but like if I could just, at the very least, accidentally like kick a bucket because I'm walking past a thing, and then there's a repercussion in the world, that will mean everything to me, because that's what VR is promising. It's like, no, the space matters. Paying attention to what you see versus where you're around matters. And if everything that you see matters, you're in the world. Even if the story is garbage, I will love this game.
Yeah,
and then like I don't have a lot of faith in Valve for various reasons. They've not made a real game in what, like a million years.
Yeah.
But so like I don't care about. Yeah.
Or last decade,
Anyway.
really. But
So yeah, so that's the thing I'm looking forward to. That could go either way.
Yep.
Good. So they are all of the things we are looking forward to this year. We'll come on to the drinks that we have drank this evening. I would say beers, but Lauren, we'll come to you first. You've had 2 drinks. You had a beer and you had some gin. Which did you prefer?
Which did you prefer?
The stout was absolutely balling. Smooth, rich. That way it is kind of thick and mealy in your mouth, and malts come after, the dates come up, really, really strong date taste. But not in that awful cheeky way. Like, it's not like you picked up treacle and goes to it like tin. Just nice the way it sits in your palate. This has been really refreshing. It's a nice fizzy wee aftertaste to lift you up, because a stout obviously being a 9.5 is quite
Yeah.
heavy, have something quite light after, lift your palate. If I had another beer, I would turn into that. I don't, it's going to have to be another gin for me after that.
Perfect. Adil, what did you prefer?
It's definitely the Collective Project IPA No8. So I really like the collab between 71 and Lumi, the Black IPA. I thought it did that like black ale tension really well. Like I got a lot of maltiness from the black, but I kind of felt like there wasn't the hoppiness from the IPA. Like it just, it was like an ale that had malty notes, and it was really good that way. But I was hoping for more hop forward notes moments, and then meanwhile the Collective Project IPA No8, it hit its 8% completely. I'm surprised at how little sweetness was going on, given that it was 8%. Like tropical, slight piney nose, and then the rest was just like, actually tropical and some citrus, and just like expanded in the taste. And it was like, if this was 5%, if you told me it was 5%, I'd be like, yeah, cool, that makes sense. And it just, the hops worked really well together. And that, I think what clinched it for me was that in the finish there was that piney resinous taste that was just really low key. So like most of the taste was up here on this like slightly citrus, tropical fruit, really forward. But when that faded away, there was just really like, again, like a step below resinous-y type finish that just let me enjoy it and let it sit, so I didn't need to reach for it again. And it wasn't fighting the previous thing. It was just like, you finish with that taste, but also I'm going to leave you with a little something. And I really enjoyed that. So it's a fantastic beer. So I think the IPA No8 from Collective Project is my beer of the week.
Nice,
how about you, Ben?
Nice. For very similar reasons, the Amundsen Another Half beer, I think, just works a lot better than the previous beer from Lost and Grounded. They kind of come through as trying to do similar kind of things, a fruity kind of start, followed by this piney finish, resinous finish. The Amundsen Another Half just does it a lot better. One is only an IPA, the other is a double IPA. You don't get that hint of the alcohol in the double IPA. It's very balanced, it works very well, it flows very well, you get those fruits, you get that pininess, doesn't have that big finish, got a little bit more, I think I said at the beginning it was very flat, it felt very flat, and it was a bit more like a sort of, more of a traditional ale. The more I drank it, the less that felt.
Oh, yeah.
It sat a little bit better the more I drank it, and there is a little bit of carbonation to it, not a huge amount, but a little bit there. And I think possibly the previous beer had a level of carbonation that just maybe dulled down the second beer just a little bit. So that started to peek through, and the last sort of third of my beer I really, really enjoyed of this Amundsen. So I think, I know that one for me this week is the clear better beer. A good start on beers of 2020 for all of us.
Yep.
Very good start. Very hard to follow up. It's going to be like 2019 beers right at the start of the year. Perfect. Don't need anything else. Back half of the year, nah, shit, mate.
I quite like to come back if you'll have me. I'd like to come back
of course.
with some more challenging beers and challenging hot takes.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get further into 2020, like next week or 2 weeks time, when there's been more shit and more stuff has happened, and you'd be like, nah, Twitter's still shit, innit? Twitter's still fucking hate-filled.
Gamers are still bullshit bastards. Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah,
so, if Lauren, people, or if you'd like people to contact you to give you words of encouragement and to be nice, don't be a cunt, be nice to Lauren on social media, how do they do that?
So you can find me on Twitter at L_Aitken, which is AITKEN. I'm usually farting around every day. And you can find me at vg247.com. and that's all they're fucking getting.
Nice. That's
Nothing
fair.
else.
No, that's
You can
good.
find
That's
me,
good.
tweet me at me by all means. I will engage. But if your hots are, your hot takes are crap, I will tell you. Or I'll send you a picture of my cats. It's a 6.5 dozen. That's the gamble
Yes.
you need to take.
The best
Hey,
response.
I mean, to be fair, your cats are amazingly adorable, so it's not a bad
Thank you.
trade-off.
Thank you.
I do enjoy how we've rolled into cats.
Yeah.
It's standard every week kind of chat. Adol,
God,
if people want to see pictures of your cat, how do they get them?
Oh, I don't actually post a lot of pictures of Dorian. But if you want to reach me, I'm at the Omniarch on all of the things but Twitch, because I don't Twitch much, but also am the _Omniarch on that. You can also hear me occasionally on the other podcast we have on the Out of Lives Network, which is the live new comedy night, This Next Act, on all your podcatchers. And in 2 weeks' time, you will hear the first time I hit the stage, where I hosted 2 days ago. So you can hear me doing some crowd work and doing some bad puns, and then forgetting material that I meant to do, but that's fine. The night went well.
That doesn't
You,
matter.
Ben. Yeah,
As long
no,
as it was flowing.
right. So I mean, hosting is different from doing like a 5-minute set, because like all I need to do is make the audience comfortable. So the fact that I forgot jokes I wanted to say didn't matter. It matters to me because I fucking forgot, and I will beat myself up about it. But like they didn't care; it didn't matter. Anyway, Ben, if you wanted to hassle you specifically.
I'm at Nova_47 almost everywhere. We are tanked up cast on Twitter, on Instagram. You can go to outoflives.net and comment on any article that anyone has posted about beer, and we'll come back to you. They might not, but we will.
Yeah.
Yes. Or video games. One of those two. Nothing else. That's it. We don't talk about anything
I
else.
mean, to be fair, we are cutting movies away from the website.
We'll have a discussion about that. So yes, go to outoflives.net as well. Go to our Facebook page. Go to our YouTube channel, where you can see our beautiful faces. You can see the beers that we've drank, the bottles, the can art, the bottle art, the gin that Lauren's drank this evening. Go to YouTube and look at how beautiful we are. And then just curl up for the rest of the week and probably play the games from 2019 that you haven't quite finished yet, waiting for DBZ Kakarot or whatever you're going to be playing in the next week or so.
My one of my resolutions is to actually start the Outer Worlds, because I've owned it for 3 months and haven't actually opened it.
Outrageous. Outrageous.
Oh, I am a filthy casual. In fact, can I reach it?
Is it still in the cellophane wrapper?
Please. Please be.
Oh, no.
Filthy casual. Get out.
Forever enshrined in everything we do.
Yeah, there we go.
Forevermore.
Yeah.
Good.
There's also, I will recommend, this is a solid beer if you can find the filthy casual beer. But I hold on to this can just for this moment.
Good.
Good. Not made anymore, but you'll find it maybe somewhere. So, for another week, we've been tanked up. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net